I don't consider myself a minimalist by any means, but rather I apply the teachings of minimalism into my life to create space mentally and physically for what truly matters to me. In 2017, I came across the book The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. This was before the Netflix series and before the word minimalism became such a trendy word. After reading the book, I started my decluttering journey and I got rid of many things, from clothes to sentimental items, and from beauty products to books and paper. It felt so good to let go of what no longer served me. And something I've realized as the years go by is that we're always changing, always evolving. You might find that what you liked yesterday simply doesn't resonate with who you are today. So even though I did get rid of many things back in 2017, at least once or twice a year, I like to revisit my belongings, go through them, and see what no longer resonates with me anymore. I have a master decluttering checklist I made on Notion a few years ago, and I like to follow this as I go through this process. It's a combination of things mentioned in the book I read, and also blogs I've visited over the years. I don't necessarily go through every single item, but having this reminds me of things that I might otherwise forget. The place I always start with is clothing. It's probably the easiest one for most of us. In this category, I include all of my clothes, underwear, shoes, accessories, basically anything that I can wear. I will bring all of it out and go through it one by one. I also make sure all of my clothes are clean so I don't miss anything. My pile has gotten a lot smaller now, but the first time I did this, I can assure you it was much, much bigger. Aside from Marie Kondo's famous question, "Does this spark joy?" I like to ask myself other questions to help guide me. Have I wore this recently? Is it easy to style with things I already own? Does this make me feel confident? Asking yourself questions like these are helpful and make the decision process easier, especially when you come across an item that you're not really sure about. If you've never done this before, you might also find it helpful to separate everything into smaller piles and put all of your sweaters together, all of your jeans, tennis shoes, heels. Breaking things down makes it easier on the mind. And you'll also find that after you practice decluttering, you become more confident in your decisions. It becomes easier and easier for you to decide what stays and what doesn't. I love books. Reading is one of my favorite things to do. And if you're like me, this category isn't easy, but I'm here to remind you that this is okay. Decluttering isn't about getting rid of everything. It's about keeping what adds value to your life and what makes you happy. And books definitely make me happy. But of course, this doesn't mean I'm going to keep every single book I buy or every book that's ever gifted to me. The question I like to ask myself is, would I read this again? If the answer is no, then I will sell or donate it. Usually the books I'll keep are books about spirituality, the ones that speak to me in a different way every time I read it. As the years have gone by, I've learned to question my buying beforehand. If it's a book I know for a fact I won't reread, I'll get the ebook version or listen to it on Audible instead. Even though I opt for paperless anytime I can, paper will still find its way into my home one way or another. Handouts, letters, receipts, manuals, we can easily collect paper without even realizing it. When I declutter, I gather all the paper I have. I go through my mail, desk, purse, car, any place I could possibly have paper, and I make one big pile. There's nothing exciting about paper, so I don't ask myself if this sparks joy. Instead, I ask myself 2 questions. Do I really need this? And if I do, can I scan this? There are certain documents that I of course need to keep, but if I can scan it and save a copy of it on my computer, I'll choose this option instead because the less clutter I have, the more free I feel. I'm blessed to have skincare products sent to me all the time for me to try. But I also have to be realistic. And if I know I won't be able to use something soon, I'll pass it on to my sister or my mom. But usually, I will tell brands when I'm ready to try something because I like to commit to my skincare products and use them consistently for a period of time. I love to try new products, but I'm also not one to jump from one thing to another just because. Learning to love myself has been a beautiful journey that also had an impact on the amount of makeup products I own now. Self-love isn't dependent on how much or how little makeup we wear, but how we feel about ourselves on the inside. I used to wear makeup to hide my acne and my acne scars, and to like the person I saw in the mirror. But as I've learned to love myself, I no longer feel the need to wear so much makeup. Unless I'm going to some kind of party or event, I like to keep my makeup very simple. So because of this, I've reduced my makeup collection significantly, and now I only keep what I actually use. Now I move on to the kitchen. I take out all pots, pans, cups, bowls, everything, and I group them by category. This makes decluttering much easier, and also when you group things together, you'll sometimes find you have duplicates when you really only need one of those items. I also ask myself, do I use this often? There are certain things that are used on special occasions, so I don't apply the question to those items, but for everything else, if I'm not using it often, I probably don't need it. I also like to go through the pantry, fridge, freezer, and get rid of anything that's past its expiration date. This is also a really good time to clean and reorganize. Next, I move on to miscellaneous items. This is basically one big category of a bunch of random things like decorations, linen, technology, and hobby supplies. I go through everything and see if I still use these items or if some of these things need to be replaced. I definitely don't do my decluttering routine all in one day. That would be very overwhelming. The first time I ever decluttered, it took me months to go through all the categories I've shared in this video, but now that I own less things, I give myself 1 to 2 hours a day over the course of a week to get it done. Because if I don't give myself a deadline, I will procrastinate and I won't do it. But I found that a week is pretty doable for me. Although I've learned to detach myself from a lot of things, I love to keep certain items that trigger happy memories. Items like these have stories, which only the person who owns them knows. This category can be very challenging, which is why it's recommended to leave it for last. And I'm not here to tell you to get rid of anything that has sentimental value to you. But during my decluttering routine, I like to go into my memory box and just check in with myself. I make sure my reason for keeping each item is coming from a place of pure joy and not an unhealthy attachment. Decluttering is a process of getting to know yourself. It's becoming aware of what you value and what you don't, what brings joy to your life and what doesn't. It's letting go of all that no longer serves us. And by doing this, we create space and new energy to live a life that's more aligned with who we truly are and what we truly love. If you'd like to see more content about this topic, diving deeper into each category, or maybe sharing tips on how I organize, let me know by liking this video and leaving a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon.